Hello, welcome to the class. Well, then I apologize for having to give you a quick lectures and activity like this. If it's up to me, I would rather get to the class and do quick presentation and let you do the activity in class with me over there helping you. But well, it's my health condition is not that good, and this is the best we can do. So sorry about that, but I try my best to make up for this. Let's get started. Well, before we get started with the demonstration, so let's revisit the concept of Java for Restful Web Services. Today, I'm gonna quickly show you the concept of the JAX RS HTTP, which is provided by Java. So what is RESTful Web Service again? RESTful Web Service, basically you try to map everything from resources to the HTTP standard verb. Well, there are several tools, but the one that we use here is the JAX RS, which in reality, you can use other tools like the Apache CXF, the JBoss, or the Less Easy, Less Let. Well, there are several tools, but we decide to go with the Jersey, the JAX RS, which is the reference implementation. This way, you don't have to install anything new. You can just use things that already provided with your system, with your installation. All right, before we move along, here's thing that you have to know. The nice thing about the JAX RS is that it's allowed you to use standard Java program and turn it easily into the RESTful web service. This is how it works. You simply have to annotate your code. Like for example, you annotate the path to your class to say which URL gonna be mapped to this Java class. After that, you annotate each method with consume and providers. Consume basically tells you what kind of data you're gonna produce. You're gonna consume in your class, and provide explain what kind of data you're gonna produce from your method. For each method that you implement in your class, you have to annotate whether it's gonna be get, uppost, or update. Just basically map it to the HTTP function. It's also support the caching function, but we are not gonna use it today. All right. To ease understanding, let's take a quick look at this example. Here I got a simple Java class named greeting. I annotated it with hello here, part hello, which means if I type something like http / my host and / hello, this get method should work and produce a plain text with this result. We're gonna see in the example, but you see how nice it is? You write a simple program, simple method. The system, the framework gonna translate it into a web service for you. So let me recap the part again. For the part, you have to specify what URL you want to map to. A little typo here, but here you can also use subpart inside the part. For example, I may annotate my part with users and this bracket username. How does it work? Here's the example. In this one, I annotate my part with user/username, which means if I send a request like this, username gonna pass to user in this method. All right, this should give you enough to jumpstart. Let's take a look at our demonstration, which is a little long here. All right, I start my NetBeans and create a new project. Here I choose web application. It would ask me to provide a project name. In my case, I just type hello world for the project name. And if you got it right, usually you have Grassfish server installed, choose Java EE7 servers, and we don't need any other frameworks, just standard framework provided by the system. That should be good enough. Once the system creates the project for you, it would come up with the standard index.html protocol. Anyway, I just erase the part that I find to be redundant and not necessary to make the program shorter. Alright, now I want to create a Java package first. That way I know where is my code, so my package gonna be com.demo. Once done, I can just create a Java class. Now I just have to type in the class name. Well, from the example that I provided in the activity sheet, I have to first create the application config that would basically extend the application. Here I can just cut and paste the code so it works. Once done, I create a new Java class named greeting. So again, for greeting, you can just cut and paste, or you can type. Again, this is simple example. We just put the part hello in. So that way we know that to consume this service, this class, I go to the part hello. You might want to right click if you see the part of the code with red underlying. Now I say I create a new function, new method named getString, which basically return a string. Just like that. I want it to be respond for the responder for the get method, so I annotate it with get. And from the example, I put another one, get JSON. This one, rather than return a standard string, I will return a JSON string. Alright. Now the first method, I should also say it should produce a text plain. So I have to annotate it with text and plain. For the second method, I should annotate it with get, but rather than just say get produce text plain, I should say produce application underscore JSON. Again, if you see anything with red underscore, just right click over it and try to import the related class. If you type it right, you should be able to just import the missing one, and done. Now I get back to my application config and I have to add the resource, basically the class that I just created, the greeting one, back into it, like this. Once we're done with this, if you got it all right, we just create a simple web service which is ready to run. So I just click run, the green icon on the top, and wait. So if you got it right, the NetBeans gonna start default browser for you. In my case, the default browser is Firefox. So once the process has already been created. The Java JAX server is started. It will start Firefox for me. Here, we got it. But my Firefox still has nothing, so it would, the default index has nothing. So I just say I want to go to resources and hello, the capital S, like this, which should give me the result from the get string. Alright, now let's try it a little bit with our Postman, which you used from last week. Okay, let me start my Postman. Here we go. Now with Postman, it's easy for me to just say I want to, rather than say I want to consume the string, I want to consume JSON. So the trick is I just have to change the header to say that I kind of expect JSON, not expect the default string. Alright, okay, wait, now here it is. So I'm gonna just create a new resource URL, put it in. Alright, in this case it's capital hello. Alright, here, this is the header that I'm talking about. You can type accept, which if I accept standard string, I just type text/pane, but now I say I expect application/JSON. So this service is going to produce me JSON string rather than standard string. Well, let's move on to the next exercise. Now I first create a resource. I call it last message. Okay. In my last message, I just create two properties. The first one is the timestamp, make it string so that it would be easier to use. Then I create another one, string message. Alright, since both of them are private, so what I should do, I should try to encapsulate the field by create getter and setter. So I just right click and say refactor, encapsulate. I select them all, and tada, it would just create the encapsulate method for me. Right. Now we create a new Restful Web Service from default pattern. I create new again. Well, you can go to Web Services and they're gonna show you a template for Restful Web Service from pattern. Like that. I would create a single pattern, specify the resource name. In my case, I want my resource to be messages with an S, okay, and produce the application/JSON. Since I already got the resource object beforehand, so I can just say I want my resource class representation class to be the message class that I have created earlier. Now it's gonna generate a template for me, which I can just modify. With this template, it already gives me the get method and the put method, but in my example, in my exercise, I say I want get method and post method. Well, but wait, anyway, you can just easily modify it or create a new method. Alright. Now you welcome to cut and paste a little bit, and in this case, I say I want it to produce array of the resource message. So make it array list. right? Now to create the result message, I put declare a new variable message, make it array list like that, and if there's nothing, just return the array list to begin with. Right now I tweak my put a little bit so that it would be the post. Well, since I have created earlier, so I can just cut and paste some of my cheat sheet to make the video shorter. Alright, if you got it right, this is what you might expect from it. When you send a request, it should give you the standard JSON message array of objects, I should say, and you can post with the Postman to make it add new message to your files, right? The code that I provided is not completely correct because there is some part that I want you to figure out a little bit how to make it work. But anyway, you should got the idea. I have provided enough hint for you to finish it by yourself. Okay, I give you a little more hint. This is the part for the get method. For the get method, I should open the files. In this case, this is the data.txt. I use a buffer reader to read each line and then put it in a message. Add message to the messages collection, which is the array list. Then I return that. This way you don't have to worry about the JSON part, just do the object part. Another hint, this is for the post method. Well, similar things, I just basically reverse of what I have done for the get method. But now I just consume only one resource message. I create a file, append to a file, I should say. I use buffer writer. I create the date, make a line for date, tab, message, and append it to the end of the resource file, the data.txt. If you got it right, when you do the send request get from the resource messages, you should get the JSON array containing JSON object. Each object gonna be message and timestamp like this. And when you do a little post to this one, you can put in the body like a message, hey, like this. When you send it, it should add to the end of that file, and when you get it back, you should see a new message, hey, like this. Alright, let's move on to the last exercise. For this one, I basically want you to create a web application, simple web application, something like this one that I just showed you. You may modify the index.html so that it's gonna be the default web. The idea is you should replace whatever you use with whatever you done with Postman with your web application. Like I may say, afternoon, sir, in this message. Submit, it should post it, add it. When you fetch it back, you should see afternoon like this. Okay, you can actually modify this to be a mobile application or web application, of course. I just show you, or message sending, receiving from another application, another services as well. But I know, you might want to say it's a little difficult, but I would give you a little more hint here. Well, to make a web application, one idea is that you may use a framework like jQuery. jQuery or jQuery depends on how you want to pronounce, and we have this AJAX method that you can use to post the JSON data. But of course, you have to understand jQuery a little bit, how to capture the submit event from the form. Similar things, you can use it to get the data from URL from the REST services that we created and format it and display to the screen. So there are a lot of resources about jQuery, but I got it work, so you should be able to make it work as well. All right, that should be enough hint. Okay, the last part of these activities, you just have to answer some questions. Well, how is that? It's not that difficult, right? I hope you learn a lot from this exercise because it's going to be a big step for you to do a little project that I planned for you. Anyway, you have to submit the WAR file, the WAR files that created from your NetBeans, and submit the report. I would create 2 links for it. All right. You will have until Tuesday, the end of Tuesday, to submit this exercise. Once again, I apologize for this. We should have done this in the class and everything should be much better. Anyway, enjoy, learn from it. Thank you.